Next, we've got Georgia going to start Vegas to take on Mississippi State, coming off their first SEC win in 2 seasons, going back to 2023
Yeah, our
against Arkansas.
great 7-3 win against Arkansas that
That was
year.
the 7-3 game.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I forgot
Mike
about
Wright
that.
masterclass.
Oh, Mike Wright, dude. Every time I drive past the Mike Wright Jewelers on Old Fannin, I think about him.
Me too.
It's so funny. But I think he actually got a sponsorship from them. I
That's
saw
funny.
maybe an NIL deal. I might have to double check that, but I think he did. Which is really fun. I don't know where he's at right now. Didn't
East
he?
Carolina.
Huh. Oh, he's still there? I remember him being there. I didn't realize he
He
was
went to Northwestern after state and then went to East Carolina.
Yep.
But he comes in for like special packages and stuff, but he don't do it the whole time.
He's been all over the country. It's crazy. He's still in the league. But yeah, I'm excited for Mississippi State. They're above 500 right now. I've been kind of on the bandwagon later into this season as they started to kind of prove me right with that 4-1 hot start beating Arizona State, which is still, in my opinion, a great win. Even though Arizona State struggled with injuries and lost some games down the stretch, they had a big win this week without their starters at quarterback,
Jeff
Sam Leonard.
Sims.
Yeah, we got to talk about that real quick.
Oh,
Let's take a little bit of a plug here. I've been dunking on Jeff Sims lately. He's not really a great quarterback, in my opinion, but he had 29 carries for over 225 on the ground and 2 touchdowns against Iowa
I
State.
didn't realize
Threw for
he had
another
that
like
much.
150 and a touchdown and a pick, but
Golly.
I've never seen a quarterback do that legitimately. I think the two best quarterback performances I remember, only because I watched them as an Ole Miss fan, were Matt Corral against Tennessee in Knoxville in the mustard and the golf ball throw game. Anybody
Hmm.
remembers the game where they threw all the trash at Lane Kiffin? Matt Corral had like 30 carries for 200 yards in that game. He ran the ball the whole game, and we cooked him. And then John Rice Plumlee had over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns against the national championship LSU team in
That game
Oxford.
was nuts.
I was at that game. It was ridiculous, and we ended up still losing by like 3 touchdowns. I think it was like 59-38 or something. It was horrible, but John Rice Plumlee had an all-time quarterback performance in that game. Those were just the games that come to the top of my head because I remember them so well. But I'm sure there's been a lot of other quarterback performances similar to that. This one just stuck out to me with Jeff Sims. So that's my plug for Jeff Sims. A little bit of love for him because of how bad he's been this season to have a huge game. Mississippi State came up huge in this game in the fourth quarter, but so did the refs. I want to talk about that real quick.
Thank you, refs.
Arkansas had, what was it, 15 or 17 penalties?
18
18
penalties.
penalties for over 190 yards in this game. They've never seen that before. The refs had more total yards in this game than State did in like 3 quarters. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that you can really make the case that without the refs, State had any business winning this game. But at the same time, Arkansas also shot themselves in the foot on most of these. So you can't blame it all on the refs. I felt like there were a couple calls that weren't super great. A lot of these were 15-yard drive extending penalties. On one of y'all's touchdown drives, they had three 15-yard penalties that walked y'all into the end zone. That was bad.
Actually, Kamario Taylor walked into the end zone.
That's fair. He did walk in the end zone on that drive, but we got him all the way down into the red zone with the referees doing what they were doing. Point being, Mississippi State only had like 5 penalties in this game for like
4.
maybe like 40 yards or something like
18 to
that.
4.
It was awful. Like the Ole Miss LSU game was a game that was really bad. Auburn's had a couple really bad games. As far as total referee yards, this was the worst one I've ever seen.
Arkansas had 194 passing yards and 193 penalty
It's
yards.
awful. That's terrible. We can't have that in college football. I'm not saying don't call obvious penalties, but we got to start looking into these SEC refs because it's just been awful all season. This makes no sense to me.
I want to go back and watch this game over the course of this week and then report back next week in the podcast and just say if I thought it was terrible or not. Because I actually didn't get to watch this game super close, like to be able to really tell how bad all these penalties were. But I'm going to go look closely into that and then see and report back next week.
Yeah, I think that a Landon investigation here would be something good for us. We need to have more substance to talk about here because I'm just going off of I watched the game. It felt wrong to me. I don't have any specific examples that I can rip off the top of my head right now, but it felt wrong. So regardless, Mississippi State ended up being the better team on the field to me. Kamario Taylor comes in with a clutch touchdown, and then Blake Shapen
2
returns for the
clutch
game,
touchdowns.
rushing and passing. And then Blake Shapen comes back and delivers the game-winning touchdown pass. If he could get protection from the offensive line, he would be a much better football player. Period. He's indecisive because he knows that at any point his offensive line could collapse on him. That's why you see him do what he does, where he panics after that first read, or he sits in the pocket for too long, or he waits 3 seconds to decide he wants to run when he sees a huge gap open up in the offensive line. That's just how it goes when you have bad offensive line play. I think he's played really well most of the season until the fourth quarter. But this game, they right the ship. They get a win to get 5-4. I don't think we ended up releasing our preseason picks this year, but I'm currently, if we had,
You mean like the game by game?
yeah, we were going to do a game by game prediction, which we decided to pass on from the preseason. But I had Mississippi State finishing 6-6. Their over under win total was like 4. I've currently gotten all these games right,
I've gotten everyone right besides Arizona State.
but
I
I'm
actually had
not.
them winning in the preseason.
I'm not going to give myself credit here because I picked Mississippi State to win in almost every single game this season, week by week. But from preseason, this is probably one of the only teams I really kind of nailed on the head because I felt like they would probably take 2 SEC wins, Arkansas, and then I'm expecting them to win against Missouri still. I think they can win that game. But they're going to have to protect the quarterback. Regardless, I had them starting 4-1 with the upset win against ASU, and then moving forward, they only win the next two against Missouri and Arkansas. Finished 6-6. That's a huge result for Mississippi State if they're able to pull that off. We'll see. But this game, some people have on upset watch. I don't feel that way. I think Georgia is clearly the better football team. And as much as I would love to give Mississippi State a chance here with some of my money, the line is way too close.
Seven and a
Seven and
half.
a half. I mean, come on. Like, it could be a close game, granted, but I would absolutely never bet money on this game. I think Georgia probably will win by double dig. I'm going to take Georgia to win 42-31 in a relatively high scoring affair. I do see a scenario where State struggles offensively at some point. Georgia's got more talent, but
Georgia's not great at rushing the passer though.
their defense has been
That
sluggish.
plays great into our offense.
But I thought they played well against Florida this
Offensive
past
line.
week in Jacksonville, so that gives me a little bit of hope. But I see points for Mississippi State. That's why I've got it where it's at. If they can protect the quarterback, then they should score. Georgia, I think, is just going to have their way offensively. Being able to be as balanced as they are, I think Gunnar Stockton has a pretty solid performance to propel them into a matchup soon against Texas for probably a at-large playoff spot for Texas, which is huge. And if they lose, they're probably going to miss out on the SEC championship game and try to be playing in for an at-large bid. So that's a huge game down the stretch. Georgia cannot be looking ahead. They have to take care of business in Starkville, which has proven to be a really tough environment this year to win in. And I like Blake Shapen to find some really good points in this game for State through the air. If they can get the run game going with Davin Booth and Fluff Bothwell, I think that they'll make it close.
We gotta have Albert Reese back on the offensive line. If
That
we
made
don't
a
have him
difference.
back, then we're cooked because we cannot run the ball for crap yesterday against an Arkansas team that has a crap run defense. So
Worst run
he
defense in the
makes
SEC.
such a huge difference on the offensive line. So if he's back, I like our odds a lot more. But if he's not, then it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think his profile is a lot like the game last year, except nobody saw it really coming last year that they were going to give
41 to
Georgia
31
a
last
scare.
year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar. That's why I've got the game being 42-31. I think it's going to be pretty close to what we saw last year. I like Georgia a lot right now. If I was being as much of a homer as I had been up to this point and the line was bigger, I would probably bet a little bit of money on it, but I don't see a scenario unless Blake Shapen has the best game of his career that they win.
So this year, Mississippi State is 8-1 against the spread. I think they moved to 9-1 this week. Right now it's 7.5. I have them losing by a touchdown here. I think the offense will be able to do well. Georgia is not amazing at pressuring the quarterback that plays into Mississippi State, having a weaker offensive line, so we should be able to have some time back there actually. So I think we're able to produce pretty good on offense. We've been great on offense, or great on offense at home. Georgia, I do think they're going to be able to move the ball up just fine against State. I have them getting to 38 points, State at 31, so 38-31, Georgia.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up going to this game. That's what it's looking like for us. So that will be our second trip to Starkville this year. I'm excited about it. It's my second trip. I know you've been to another game,
Well,
to the
Tennessee game, yeah.
So I have yet to I haven't gone to a game in Starkville that's been bad. I'm 1-0 in games going to Starkville. And then you went to the Tennessee game, even though y'all lost, it was a great game. I fully anticipate this one to be fun. It may not be close in the fourth quarter, down in the stretch, but there's always a real chance it could be. So I'm excited about this. Looking to possibly have a doubleheader with the LSU Alabama game. Continuing to watch those ticket prices, but I think it's only an 80-minute drive for us to get from Starkville to
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa.
real close.
So we're looking to try and do that. It could be a really fun week for some SEC football, maybe some upsets. We'll see. Definitely not our biggest slate of the whole season. I think that a lot of people look at this as a sleeper slate. possibly a disappointing slate, I think we have some really fun games. I'm looking forward to it. Chaos is what you expect in November. We're in the make or break season. I bet we see a couple of these games go a really interesting way that we didn't see coming. Typical college football this day and age. I fully anticipate that. That'll wrap up our week 11 preview.